I'm Kelly Kennedy, and I'm a narwhal. And do you know what a narwhal is? The narwhal is the unicorn of the sea. The narwhal has a story to tell you. Come wait and see. Come sit down, gather your friends and your families. Kelly Kennedy is here to tell you a tale that you'll never believe, but is so real and so fascinating. I had to make sure you got it, and I had to make sure you were paying attention. So I'm here to tell you the story of the narwhal. So let's first talk about a narwhal. So narwhals are these amazing unicorns of the sea that have the pointiest part of their body to help them break through the ice. They live in the ice channels, and what they do is they're schooling fish. And when these schooling fish come across another channel of narwhals, they cannot go in opposite directions because the channels are so thin that they need to communion together. So I have been in this medicine, I have been in this world, I have been employing the concepts of flow and flow technique and flow therapy and bioregulatory medicine, terrain medicine for 27 years. And I turned 50 on the January 22nd. And 3 days before I turned 50, it was January 19th. And that's when the narwhal really came out. Because the narwhal is about breaking through the glass ceiling, getting our breath to infuse inside of us and allowing us to commune together to create the new world. We are now in the new world, evidenced by Kelly dressed as a narwhal. Now, I am here to do now a striptease, and I'm going to share with you a little story of what's happened and why the narwhal has become my totem animal. So, Dr. Christine Schaffner and I have been doing this medicine for a long time, and when I had the greatest opportunity to meet her, we had a discussion about bringing the heart of medicine back. And she agreed. And that weekend, let's just say the narwhal showed up over and over. First, we were at a dinner. Her daughter was reading a book, and her daughter was reading a book about narwhals and the narwhal. And the waitress comes over and puts the plate down, and the waitress has a tattoo of a narwhal right here on her forearm. I didn't even know what a narwhal was. I thought Christine had made it up, and now here we are. So Christine and I were laughing because we were, Dr. Schaffner, because we were talking about changing the face of medicine, bringing the heart back into medicine. And that was 5 years ago. In November, it was 4 years ago. So a little over 4 years ago. And here we are. I have a story to share with you about January 19th of 2024. What's that, Kelly? Yes, Kelly. What is that, a cast? What is happening? Well, my narwhal inside me is looking always for the highest and best good. And my elbow, which is the boniest part of my body, and I wanted to bring my husband and I to Florida to meet the beautiful community of people that I was able to meet in September in Florida, and wanted to bring them into that world of community because I want a second house where it's nice and warm in Florida because I live in Philadelphia. And so I got to bring my onesie back up here because it's way too cute to not wear it. So as I did that, because I wanted to be in the warm weather for my birthday in January, God blessed us with a snow day, and we were grounded in our flight. We ended up being stuck in Philadelphia for an extra day. So we made the best of it, and we went sledding, and no, that is not how I ended up in this situation. On January 19th, today as I record this, it is February 8th. And on January 19th, walked the dog after we sledded, and my feet came out from underneath me, and I fell on the ice, and I slammed down on my elbow and had dislocated my shoulder and hurt my elbow really bad. There's so much to this story. And I fell in the parking lot of an urgent care. I was 100 feet from our house. We lived next door to an urgent care, and it was closed due to weather. They had not salted their sidewalks, which is why I fell on the ice. In the 3D, that's why. In the 12D, I know, because it's for my highest and best good. So I could demonstrate and show you. what happens when you get hurt or injured or have an illness and how to apply the flow. Fascia, lymph, oxygen, water, and energy. I need you all to understand that this body is what heals, that this cast that I have, that I've only had on for 24 hours on day 18 is needed to, right now in this part of the story, to allow my Olmecon process, which is the tip of your humerus bone, your upper arm bone, that chipped off, and I need it to adhere back. And I've been mobilizing it so much that myself and a medical doctor, an orthopedic specialist, and I agreed, even though he wanted to do surgery, which is what he said is the fix. Is it though? Do we not know more about bone than we ever have? Do we not understand about the fascia and lymph better than we ever have? And so he and I have agreed together, because I'm an advocate for myself, that I am not willing to do surgery and have pins drawn into my bone, because I know at some level bone is more dense fascia. And I know that it needs time to build the cells together, but it's like a magnetic field that wants to come back together. And I know that all the things that I've done have allowed this to continue healing. Then it got to the point after day 12 that I decided to get an X-ray, because it was hurting me so much at this very point. When I got an X-ray is when I determined that it was actually broken. I had been on a plane. I had almost 30% range of motion. I had been working all week, and my shoulder that had dislocated had gone back in place on day 2 by doing exactly what I teach, which is fascia blocking. We can't do this alone. This is self-care over healthcare, but I also had a huge community around me of support. And I want to tell you that story. I want to share this story of wellness, of health, of trust, of radical surrendering and advocacy and listening and intuition to her that heals, which is inside each one of us. And I'm going to share each and every day with you another little nugget, another little thing that we've done. I'm going to interview you, all of my great friends and colleagues that have either created techniques or remedies or equipment that has facilitated me through this process. All things that you can do at home. All things that are going to help you empower to know that you have the right tools to help you have self-care over healthcare. So that while I was laughing, kind of, not really, sort of, but as I laid on that ground, walking my dog, and I watched my husband on one side, watch me fall and think it was no big deal, as I writhed on the ground and looked on the other side and was like, really? I'm in an urgent care on their sidewalk in their clothes? That's funny. You're funny, universe. That within an hour and a half, I was able to be grateful and thankful. Why this happened was allowing me to share with you and employ all these techniques to give you the opportunity to know how to heal the body from the inside out. No matter if it's an acute fall or it's chronic illness, we still employ fascia, open up the body, get the body to communicate with itself, pump that lymph, make sure the body doesn't get stagnant and stuck, which is why I'm not going to have a cast on for very long. This is a very temporary soft cast to allow the healing to occur and to guard it so that I don't reinfect it as I was a little bit, because I kept mobilizing it too much from my sense of holding on to listen to this. And so look at some of the videos that I have to share with you. I started to document what was happening. I fell on January 19th as a 49-year-old woman. 3 days later, I turned 50. I employed fascia, lymph, oxygen, water, and energy. I asked and received help. I received coherence healing. I used the topicals that we talk about. I used some of the tools. This was so easy. Yes, I had a lot of pain. Yes, I had a lot of expression of that pain. And yes, I had a lot of relief. And more than anything, I have listened to my body. I have listened to my body tell me, and the universe tell me, to slow down and to have a little bit more fun, and to connect the community, to really empower them to understand how the body really works. So I, Kelly Kennedy, as your Norwal, are here to tell you that story. So the first thing I did was I went into shock. When it happened, Ian came down and got me. As he tells the story, he said, I realized that you had fallen and you couldn't get up. And I thought to myself, oh my God, is she a 50-year-old woman now that has fallen and can't get up? Ha ha ha. Funny now, not then. He did not know it was that big of a deal. I absolutely knew how much pain I was in. He gets me in the house. He starts asking me a lot of questions about my pain level and what I need. And this should tell anybody anything. I instantly knew I needed pain relief because I couldn't breathe. And I knew until I got out of that pain, I wasn't going to be able to really breathe. And I could breathe and try to get out of the pain. But honestly, I was so in shock and so much inflammation, and I wasn't sure what was going on. I was pretty sure my shoulder was dislocated from the amount of pain. I wasn't sure what was going on here. So I asked him to get me 3 ibuprofen right away and help reduce the pain so that I could think. Then I went and took a hot shower. He wanted me to ice. I said, I know both of us have that training, but what I know about the fascia is it wants heat, and I know I need water. So I sat in that shower on the ground and I allowed myself to fully breathe. Within about 15 minutes of that, I came out of the shower and said to Ian, please call Deanna Hansen. Deanna Hansen is the block therapy expert in Canada, and God bless her soul, she answered the phone at 2:30 in the afternoon on a Friday. This is where community comes in. And I said, Deanna, I need your help. I'm supposed to be flying on a plane tomorrow, and I don't know if this is broken. I don't know if it's dislocated. I don't know what to do. And she said, honey, the first thing is you look like you've been in a car accident. We need to get you to breathe. And she used her block, her buddy. I used her buddy, and I applied it as we do over the belly button, over the diaphragm, and allowed me to, with a little bit of pressure, to breathe into it. And I started to get my breath back. And then she orchestrated my husband to use the tools that we have in blocking, and I was moving my lymph to start to get the mobilization and allow the body to communicate with itself and allow the body to start to move this. And that's exactly what I did. And the next morning at 5, this happened at 5:30 in the evening on a Friday. At 5:30 in the morning on a Saturday, we drove to the airport and we flew to Florida. And I landed in Florida with a very swollen arm, but nobody knew that it was injured unless they came up next to me. And then I was like, hey, don't get near me, I'm blocking, right? I was just protecting it without a sling, without anything, and I was moving it as need be. My shoulder at that point still wasn't in. And I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to tell you what happened on day 2. Before I end that, when we landed in Florida, I have friends everywhere. I have great community. And I called 3 of my friends in the area and said, Monday I was coming to your office because I just wanted to get treatment from somebody I truly care, but now I need your treatment. And I want you to know that I really have hurt myself and I really need care on Monday. Check done. The second thing was I called my other friend who I know has every piece of biohacking equipment on the planet, Stephen Dippity, Stephen Klein. And I called Stephen and said, I'm coming in town. I know you're going to have dinner with us. If you have anything for an acute injury, please bring it along. And as a good friend, he did. He brought his MagnaWave. And I got treated on MagnaWave. And more than anything, I had the sun and the ocean, which is near and dear to my heart, which is why I wanted to be in Florida. And our great friend, Sandy Sembler, was kind enough to host us that afternoon for lunch at her home, which is on the beach. And so I went right out into the grass. I went and talked to the water. I communed with the water. I felt the sun. Even though it was chilly, I felt the sun. And I started to realize what a gift this really is. What a gift, everything that has ever happened to me in my life, to be right here in this very moment, to teach you this very thing, to empower you over self-care or healthcare. Because I've been saying for years that I'm freer than any person I know, because it does not matter what country I live in. It does not matter what government I'm under. I know how to care for this body. And I used to say, with the exception of a broken bone, if that happens, take me directly to the emergency room. Don't take me to my acupuncturist. Well, I'm here to tell you I've changed my mind about that. I don't necessarily need you to drive me to the acupuncturist, but I don't need to go to the emergency room. I'm going to learn to trust the body. Now, if I have a head gash wound again and that kind of stuff, please stitch me up and take me directly to the emergency room. But for a broken bone, I'm not sure. We had all the information. And as I have continued to research this and work with my friends and colleagues, I am blooming away at how much change has occurred and how much healing has occurred. So I want, first video I'm going to show you that's going to be attached is the day one in Sarasota. And there, a lot of these are a little risque painting. Pretty much all I have on is a towel. And you can see the compensation. You can see the swelling. You can see the pain in my face. And I'm going to be doing these, this is the longest video I'm going to do. I'm going to be doing short videos every few days to bring you along the story. And at the very end, we're going to bring on and interview all of my colleagues and friends that had equipment or remedies or something to facilitate this, to teach you even more about how you can empower yourself to have the freedom that we all get to have in this life, to live truly heaven on earth, that regardless of what happens to this physical body, I know we're here to share this message. And I know what this sounds like as I say it, being raised Catholic, and I am here to tell you that I've been given this message, and it is my honor and privilege to share this information with you. We had Jesus's message wrong. The burden of the cross, as it was amplified and was a metaphor for this physical body. That the physical body is the burden. And when we can let go of that physical body and open our wings, which right now this wing's a little broken, just a little broken. When we can open our wings and lead with our sacred heart and say the right words, which is the vibration and the frequency, which is what the women said in the story of the Bible, that rose again, Jesus, from the dead, we too can rise again and literally live heaven on earth. And I, Kelly Kennedy, the Norwal, honoring all of my friends, Sinclair Kennelly and Christine Schaffner and Harry Massey and all you lovely people that I love so much, that I get to travel around this world and we get to enjoy this heaven on earth, to allow us all, Dr. Christine Clinton, Carrie Bennett, all y'all, I'm looking at this backwards like that. There we go. This Norwal is here to tell you that this is heaven on earth, and we are to have a lot of fun and to trust every single thing that happens because it is in your highest and best good. Your job is to lean into the pain, breathe through it, and allow your body to get to the other side where it's no longer being held in your body as a burden. I walked around without a cast, without anything, and using my arm for 17 days before I decided to immobilize it for 4 or 5 to assist and facilitate the healing. I will not keep it immobile for too long, but it did need it for now. That's because I know and I trust my body. And she and I have an agreement. And we looked in the mirror 3 days after, or 3 days post the X-ray, which was verifying that it broke, to go, okay, you started to jump into the old suit. You started to go into the old Kelly, not the normal Kelly. You went into the, oh, it's a broken bone and I need to go to a surgeon and I need to fix it and it's a bone. And you went, wait, you are not a machine. You are not a mechanism. You are an ever-evolving, ever-changing being that is more divine and connected with sonar, like the Norwals, like the unicorns of the sea, that are magical and have all the magic within us to heal this body. We just need to radically surrender to it, listen to it, and then find our own unique path. Would this path be the same path that everybody who falls on their elbow and dislocates their shoulder? Absolutely not, because everybody's an individual, everybody's a unique person, but within each one of us is the connection to every one of us. And that love that connects us is actually what heals. And I look forward to sharing the rest of this story with you and sharing to you how this Norwal, Kelly Kennedy, loves all the things that happen in her life, radically surrender to them, and know they're my highest and best good and for yours as well. Welcome to the new